Imagine a vast echoing chamber, a cathedral of power where the mightiest minds of the cosmos gather in solemn assembly. Here, in the heart of the galactic conclave, where civilizations with technology capable of obliterating worlds with a mere whisper convene, an air of haughty amusement dance through the air. This was not the usual atmosphere of tense diplomacy or strategic defense. Rather, a different kind of spectacle was unfolding. Before this assembly of beings with skins shimmering like the finest steel, our eyes burning with the predatory glow of ancient hunters, stood a solitary figure. Sergeant Liam Carter, a special air service operative from Earth, was an anomaly in this sea of extraterrestrial majesty. His presence, though restrained, carried a quiet dignity. His fingers, subtly restless, hinted at a readiness honed by countless hours of intense training. The warriors of the conclave, however, saw only a human curiosity, a quaint relic from a planet they considered primitive. They did not notice, nor would they comprehend, the strategic mind at work behind Carter's stoic facade. Grand Marshal Corvier, a towering entity with skin like polished obsidian and limbs ending in razor-sharp talons, addressed Carter with a voice that boomed like thunder tinged with barely concealed mockery. "We have heard much of Earth's warriors," he intoned, his tone dripping with skepticism. "Your planet, though young, has earned a place in our alliance. Yet we ponder, is this due to true strength or merely the fortune of the stars?" A wave of laughter rippled through the hall, but Carter's expression remained unyielding. Inside his mind was a whirlwind of analysis. Every alien reaction, every subtle shift in posture cataloged and dissected. His training had sharpened his senses, transforming every breath, every glance into a trove of tactical insights. He was not merely present, he was calculating, preparing for any eventuality. As the crowd's jeers echoed through the grand arena, Carter for the first time beheld the alien species in their corporeal form, a sight so alien it jolted him even though he had seen images before. The reality of their otherness was palpable, a stark contrast to anything human. Unfazed by the derision, Carter inhaled deeply, his emotions veiled behind a mask of stoicism. His silence, however, only provoked Corva further. The alien leaned in his posture, predatory like one studying an unusual specimen. "Tell me, Earthling," Corva's voice slithered through the air, "do you grasp why we have brought you here today? Or does such comprehension escape your kind?" Meeting Corva's piercing gaze with a steady, composed look, Carter responded, his voice unwavering. "I was informed I'm here to exhibit Earth's military prowess, to undergo any test you see fit." Corva's lips curled into what could be interpreted as a smile, if not for the menacing rows of needle-sharp teeth. A trial indeed, a demonstration perhaps. But do not be misled, Earthling. This is not for your advantage. It is for ours. Carter was not blind to the spectacle's true purpose. The conclave had orchestrated this event not only to display their might, but to underscore the perceived frailty of Earth's defenses. They paraded him as an emblem of humanity's supposed unpreparedness for the ruthless arithmetic of galactic warfare. As the conclave's leaders debated the specifics of the trial, Carter took a moment to survey his surroundings. The arena was monumental, its vastness carved from dark stone and metal that glowed with a sinister light. The walls bore the scars of countless battles, each mark a silent witness to the fate of warriors who had once stood where he now did, most undoubtedly had not left victorious. Before his arrival, a young diplomat from Earth had briefed him, underscoring the critical nature of this confrontation for humanity's standing in the cosmos. What would be the outcome of this trial? Would it cement humanity's reputation as mere spectators in the grand theater of galactic conflicts? Or would it be a turning point, a chance to prove their mettle against the stars? As the galaxy watched on Earth stood at a precipice, its fate teetering on the edge of a cosmic balance, no elegant diplomatic phrases could mask the stark reality: Earth was on trial. Its future within the Alliance, its very standing among these towering civilizations, hinged solely on Carter's shoulders. His survival, his triumph, would not just be a victory for him, but a testament to Earth's resilience and might. Amidst the crowd, a young alien, tall and wiry with scales that shimmered like deep purple jewels, smirked. Leaning toward another, he whispered just loud enough for Carter to catch. "Look at him. They still cling to projectile weapons on Earth primitive. Surely he'll shatter at the first charge." But Carter, seasoned by years of taunts and underestimations, was unruffled. He drew inward, his mind echoing with the relentless drills of SAS training where he had been pushed beyond every conceivable limit. He had faced insurmountable odds before enemies with superior numbers and firepower, yet he had always emerged victorious because defeat was simply not in his vocabulary. The chamber resonated with a chime heralding the commencement of the trial. Corvier's eyes sparkled with a sinister gleam as he directed Carter's attention to a platform across the arena. A warrior emerged, his towering figure clad in armor muscles like thick cables under chitinous plating. Energy weapons buzzed ominously at his sides, and his gaze was locked on Carter, a mix of disdain and predatory anticipation. "Your opponent," Corvier declared with a smirk, "is one of our finest recruits. Even among our kind, his strength is unmatched. He offers you the honor of combat, or should you choose the mercy of surrender." A ripple of laughter spread through the crowd at this jest, but Carter stood unmoved. His eyes, sharp and calculating, swept over the warrior, analyzing his stance, the way he wielded his formidable weapons. Would Carter prove Earth's worth? Could he turn the tide in this cosmic arena? His resolve was steel, his spirit unyielding, ready to prove that Earth's might was not to be underestimated. As the arena's whispers subsided, a palpable sense of anticipation hung in the air. The crowd's earlier skepticism now tinged with a burgeoning curiosity. Carter the Earthling, the soft human, moved with an air of ownership over the very ground he trod upon. His steps were deliberate, unhurried, his focus as unyielding as the ancient stones beneath his feet. Here was a man who seemed to defy the very expectations of his audience, his every movement a subtle testament to both his strengths and his vulnerabilities. Carter had noticed the slight favoring of one leg, the over-reliance on his armor to absorb the brunt of the blows, a telltale sign of overconfidence that Carter had observed in many a well-trained but untested soldier. "Thank you for the honor," he responded, his voice echoing through the chamber, carrying with it the barest hint of a smile. The crowd's confusion was almost palpable, a ripple of surprise as they realized this was no ordinary combatant. "I'll do my best to return it in kind," he added, his words resonating with a promise of unexpected resilience. The Grand Marshal's gaze narrowed, sensing a defiance in Carter that was subtle yet undeniable. Here was a man ready to engage, not with fear or resignation, but with a quiet, unwavering resolve. Corvier, expecting perhaps fear or at least a hint of submission, found himself unsettled by Carter's composure. As Carter approached the center of the arena, the whispers diminished, replaced by a charged, expectant hush that seemed to envelop the very air around them. And then the signal was given. Carter's body tensed, his mind sharpened to a singular purpose. The silence was thunderous, the arena holding its breath as the trial commenced. This moment, charged with the weight of expectation and doubt, was not just a test of strength, but of will. Sergeant Liam Carter, amidst this alien landscape, cataloged every possible advantage and hazarded his senses attuned to the challenge before him. His opponent, a towering figure with sapphire scales and the casual grace of a predator, moved with a confidence born of his size and alien might. Yet in this moment, the conclave began to doubt their certainty, shaken by the man who stood ready not just to fight, but to prove something far greater. As Carter stood, the alien's glowing eyes narrowed, its mandibles clicking with a sinister anticipation. This earthling was but a morsel, a fleeting amusement to this otherworldly predator. Carter, no stranger to the ferocity of battle, had clashed with beings far more lethal in the suffocating confines of Earth's battlegrounds. Yet he knew the folly of underestimating an adversary, particularly one endowed with such formidable physical prowess. Clutching his standard-issue SAS combat knife, a weapon he favored over the advanced gadgets provided by the Conclave, he readied himself. To the spectators from across the galaxy, his choice of armament seemed quaint, almost comical. But Carter was well aware that in combat speed, precision and control could outstrip brute force. The aliens, sensing Carter's preparedness, let out a growl that echoed ominously around the arena. Its initial attack was as predictable as it was fierce, a sweeping arc of a clawed arm capable of rending armor and a bone. Yet Carter, attuned to the subtle telegraphing of his opponent's movements, danced aside with the grace of a seasoned fighter. The alien strike missed by a hair's breadth, and a ripple of astonishment swept through the crowd. They had anticipated the human's quick demise, but Carter stood resolute, his focus unwavering. He needed the alien to overcommit, to trust too much in its overwhelming strength. The alien's attacks grew more frenzied, its next strike a furious snarl accompanied by a downward slash aimed to bisect Carter. With a nimble twist, Carter evaded once more the alien's claws just grazing his shoulder. A sting of pain shot through him, yet he seized the moment. What would the alien do next? Could this be the opening he needed? Carter lunged forward, sliding past the alien's side with the precision of a seasoned warrior. Close enough to feel the alien's breath, he delivered a brutal jab, his knife sinking into a soft joint in the creature's armor with a satisfying crunch. The alien let out a roar, staggering back, his expression flickering with disbelief. To the untrained eye, it might have seemed like a mere stroke of luck, a single fortunate strike. But for those with a sharper perception, it was clear Carter had not only found a chink in the alien's armor, but exploited it with a cold, ruthless efficiency. Blood, a viscous, iridescent substance, shimmering like liquid metal, began to seep from the wound. The alien's initial shock quickly transformed into seething rage. With a furious bellow, he activated a shimmering energy shield from his gauntlet, enveloping himself in a barrier that crackled with deadly plasma. Carter instinctively took a half-step back, his mind racing as he reassessed his opponent, now faster, his reach extended by the shield which blocked any direct attack. How could he breach this new defense? His knife alone was useless against such advanced technology, and every moment the alien was shielded meant his confidence was swelling. Yet Carter's keen eyes caught a flaw. The shield flickered every few seconds, a faint distortion hinting at the energy cell's limitations. They weren't designed for prolonged combat. The alien lunged again, his shield ablaze, aiming to crush Carter with relentless close-range assaults. Carter sidestepped, maintaining a cautious distance, his gaze locked on the rhythmic flickers of the shield. He counted his heart pounding with anticipation. 5 more strikes, and the alien's movements began to slow his breathing, heavy, the shield's energy cells dimming. At the next assault, Carter feigned a stumble, his balance seemingly faltering. The alien, sensing victory, struck with all his might. In that critical moment, Carter twisted his body, a blur of motion. Carter, with the agility of a seasoned warrior, sidestepped the alien's fierce blow, slipping within the shield's range just as its protective glow flickered. With the precision of a master, he plunged his knife into a vulnerable gap in the alien's armor. The alien's bellow of agony echoed through the grand hall, a haunting symphony of pain as Carter drove the blade deeper, twisting it with the full force of his weight. The alien, once mighty, now fell to one knee, his shield dissipating in a burst of failing energy. Carter stepped back, his chest heaving, watching as his opponent struggled to stand, his pride more wounded than his body. But the battle was not yet won. With a snarl of pain, the alien rose, clutching his wounded side eyes aflame with fury. Carter saw it then, the desperation, the shattered sense of superiority replaced by the primal survival instinct of a beast cornered. In a desperate move, the alien hurled his last weapon, a spiked gauntlet, aiming to catch Carter off guard. Carter ducked the air, whistling past his ear, and in one fluid motion, lunged forward, closing the distance. He grappled with the alien, using his opponent's momentum against him. With a twist, Carter drove his elbow into the alien's throat, exploiting the anatomical weaknesses he had noted from the fight's onset. The alien staggered, clutching at his throat, then fell backward, his massive frame crashing to the ground with a sound that seemed to shake the very foundations of the arena. Silence fell broken only by Carter's labored breathing. The conclave had anticipated a swift, brutal spectacle, expecting the human to fall quickly to their superior warrior. Yet there stood Carter, bloodied yet unbowed, defying every expectation. Corvier, who had watched in silence, now stood his face a mask of unreadable emotion. His gaze flicked from Carter to the fallen alien and back again. The air was thick with disbelief, the crowd murmuring in astonishment at the spectacle they had just witnessed. With a deliberate, almost ceremonial gesture, Carter wiped his blade on his sleeve, his face a mask of stoicism. He knew the folly of reveling in this fleeting triumph. More trials loomed, more adversaries awaited. Yet in this moment, he had proven his point undeniably. Earth was not to be trifled with or underestimated. His eyes locked with Cora's, a silent challenge simmering within as palpable as the tension that filled the arena. The crowd hushed the air thick with anticipation as Corvier rose to speak. Carter steadied himself, fully aware that his journey here was far from over. The arena fell into a heavy silence, as if the very atmosphere was holding its breath. There in the heart of this alien coliseum, Sergeant Liam Carter stood, his breath evening out, his gaze unyielding. He sheathed his blade with a decisive click, the sound echoing like a proclamation of his resolve. The fallen alien warrior, a giant in life, now lay still. His formidable presence a silent testament to the battle just concluded, yet he had fallen to the earthling who now commanded the arena's attention. Thousands of alien eyes, once dismissive, now bore into Carter with a mix of newfound respect and, for some, a flicker of fear. Above, Grand Marshal Corvier surveyed the scene, his obsidian gaze piercing through the distance to settle on Carter. A lifetime of leading armies across the cosmos had honed his ability to discern warriors, to gauge their strength, both overt and concealed. Despite his earlier disdain for this human, Corvier recognized in Carter an unexpected quality, a rare spark that even his seasoned eyes had not anticipated from an earthborn combatant. Yet the pride of the Grand Marshal chafed at the undeniable proof of his misjudgment. Carter felt the weight of Corvier's stare, but met it with a calm defiance, the tension between them as taut as a bowstring. Every fiber of his being screamed caution. The alien leader was unpredictable, and this victory could very well be ephemeral. Still, Carter allowed himself a fleeting moment of satisfaction. He had not merely endured this trial, he had shattered their preconceptions of Earth's warriors. What now? The silence stretched on an eternity in itself, until Corvier's deep, resonant voice shattered the stillness. "It seems we have underestimated you, Earthling," he declared, his words reverberating through the hall. A wave of murmurs and hesitant nods swept through the conclave like leaves rustling in a sudden breeze. Carter acknowledged this with a slight tilt of his head, not out of pride, but as a simple nod to the recognition. Corvier's praise was as close as he would likely get, and Carter had never been one to revel in empty humility. From the council, a lean figure with scales shimmering in a venomous green leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with an intense curiosity. "Tell us, Earthling," he hissed, his voice slithering through the air, "are all of your warriors like you, or are you an anomaly?" Carter paused, the weight of his response hanging heavily in the air. He knew this moment was pivotal, not just for his own standing, but for the perception of Earth itself. It was a moment that would define how the conclave viewed Earth's military potential in the coming years. "On Earth, we have many warriors," Carter replied, his voice steady and clear as a mountain stream. "Some are masters of strategy. Others excel in endurance. I might be trained to fight alone, but my strength is but a reflection of what our people can achieve when we unite." His words seemed to stir the air, igniting a spark of interest among the council members. Yet in Corvier's eyes, Carter saw a flicker of calculation. This trial had undoubtedly showcased a skill set from Earth's warriors that the conclave hadn't anticipated. Earth could no longer be dismissed as a passive member of the alliance. It was now viewed either as a potential ally or a looming threat. Corvier folded his arms, his gaze piercing through Carter like a spear. You say you fought alone, that your strength reflects your people. He paused, allowing the weight of his words to settle. Yet you fought with a cunning and adaptability we did not expect. Such traits are. As the faint ripple of agreement traveled through the council, Carter couldn't help but notice several pairs of eyes narrowing, reevaluating him, perhaps even Earth itself. The council's attitude had shifted from smug condescension to a cautious, almost respectful curiosity. Carter knew he had accomplished his mission, yet he was struck by a profound realization he was leaving an indelible mark on these beings, one that could very well shape Earth's destiny in this vast competitive galaxy. Corvier leaned forward, his voice dropping to a whisper, yet still reaching every ear. Perhaps there is a future where Earth and the Conclave share knowledge, exchange strategies. Your kind could benefit from our technology, as we could learn from your unique approach. Carter scrutinized the Grand Marshal's face, detecting the calculated caution behind his proposal. It wasn't an invitation born of goodwill, but a strategic maneuver, a means for the Conclave to keep Earth close, possibly to control it under the guise of cooperation. This was yet another test, and Carter knew he must approach it with the same wariness as his earlier confrontations. He nodded slowly, his voice calm yet imbued with a quiet strength. An alliance built on mutual respect could be invaluable, but respect must be reciprocal, he asserted, making it unmistakably clear that Earth would not bow down nor accept condescension. His words hung in the air, challenging the Council to recognize Earth as an equal. For a moment, a dangerous silence enveloped the room as Corvier's gaze sharpened. Then a slow, approving smile crept across his face, exposing his needle-like teeth in a rare, genuine display. Well-spoken, Sergeant Carter, he conceded, his tone weighted with an unusual respect. Perhaps, just perhaps, this was the beginning of something monumental. Not just for Carter, but for the future of Earth and its place among the stars. The air in the arena seemed to crackle with a newfound respect, as Corvier's final words hung in the air, cementing the verdict with an undeniable finality. A wave of reluctant admiration swept through the gathering, touching even the most skeptical Alien Warriors Council members and diplomats who had once scoffed at the very idea of an Earthling's trial. Now they watched Carter with eyes that mingled respect with a cautious regard. Carter dipped his head in acknowledgement, his posture betraying not an ounce of the triumph he felt. His mission was to showcase Earth's resilience and secure its stature among the stars, and he had accomplished this with deeds, not words, with conviction, not fanfare. Yet he understood that the journey was far from over. This alliance, this delicate dance of mutual respect, would demand Earth's vigilant strength and an ongoing demonstration of human fortitude. As he made to depart, Corvier's voice halted him once more. Remember, Sergeant, our respect is not easily bestowed, but today you have earned it. A pause, then a flicker of something amusement, or perhaps admiration in the alien's dark eyes. Perhaps one day I might have the honor of learning directly from your kind. A subtle smile played at the corners of Carter's mouth. Perhaps, Grand Marshal, he replied, his gaze sweeping over the conclave one last time, leaving them with the impression of Earth's quiet, unyielding strength. As he strode from the arena, the weight of his victory settled deep within him. He had carried Earth's honor through trial and test, transforming the view of Earth's warriors from soft to something formidable in the eyes of these extraterrestrial beings. The path ahead was long fraught with the need to forge new alliances and confront new challenges. But today, Carter had set a precedent, a beacon that would resonate across the cosmos, etching Earth's mark indelibly into the fabric of the universe. In the shadows of the arena, the echoes of this day would linger, a testament to what humans could achieve when faced with the unknown. As the conclave's hushed reverence enveloped the room, Carter sensed a profound shift. Earth had seized its moment, a foothold of respect, a testament to its might, now acknowledged by the galaxy. Can you feel the weight of this triumph? In this sacred silence, a new era dawns for humanity. Thank you, dear viewers, for joining us on this extraordinary journey. Your support fuels our passion. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below, like, share, And if you haven't yet, subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt narratives that touch the stars.